It's about Halloween. Surprise. It's about Halloween. There's Christians out there that defend it and that celebrate it, right? So that's what we're going to talk about, whether or not we should celebrate Halloween as Christians. It's tough. So there's a lot of things. There are some websites that I can give you guys that you can go to on your own time, because I read this article that really speaks about it and speaks on it, and most of it is stuff that God, has been their people as well, and it's like he's brought it to my attention, and it's like, okay. So the Lord has put this in my heart since before we had like the meeting to see who was gonna do what on which day, like he had already been speaking to me about Halloween, and like I needed to start writing about it, and I was like, okay. So should we as Christians or children of God, followers of Jesus Christ, celebrate Halloween? I said all of them because that is what we call ourselves, and in First John 3, that is what we are. We are children of God. At first, I was very hesitant because all Christians, well, not all Christians, I was very hesitant because Christians like to debate this a lot. And they get mad about it. They really want to defend Halloween with all their heart and soul. And like, if you defended Jesus like that, right? If you defended Christianity like that, if you defended your beliefs like that, but you want to compromise and defend Halloween. So I debated this a lot. I debated it a lot because, they like to debate this a lot, and I debated this a lot. As a child, I was never a fan of Halloween. It was never big in my neighborhood in Puerto Rico growing up. My parents let us get dressed maybe once or twice, but it was never really a thing we were super excited to do. It wasn't a tradition or even a holiday, in my opinion. It was just a day to get free candy. It was never like, our parents didn't care if we celebrated it or not back in the day. But it was never like, if we wanted to do it, they were like, okay, we'll dress up this Halloween because you guys want to go out. But we never really wanted to. It's not like Christmas, where it's Christmas and you're anticipating it and you're excited for it and you can't wait for it. It wasn't like that for us. We were just like, it was just a normal day, except you got dressed up as whatever you wanted and you get free candy. So sometimes we didn't even dress up. I would put some makeup on and go out, like put some, I don't know, fake blood on my cheek or something, and just break a shirt and go out just to get candy. Like, so it's not like I didn't celebrate it, but it was never like a, oh my God type of feeling, like I need to do this. And some people really, like, that is their favorite holiday.
Yes.
They love it. And some people have, ¿cómo que se dice? Un arte para esas cosas, para el maquillaje, para los disfraces, para todo eso. So they love it. After I came to Christ, in my walk with him, I went 3 times. I went out 3 times to celebrate Halloween. The first one, I don't remember it very well. I don't remember where I went. And I was in my teens and still new to God and Jesus and our beliefs. So the first time I went out, I was still in high school. Fresh out of high school. And I stayed at a friend's house with Lily, and I dressed as a cat last minute. And I don't even know where we went. I know we went out. So I searched everywhere for an answer to this debate because it was really eating at me. Some Christians would say it's okay because God knows your heart, as long as you don't dress up as the evil stuff, it's okay. It's not okay, because what surrounds Halloween is wicked. The spiritual things that happen in Halloween are wicked. And just by dressing up, it doesn't matter if you, I'm getting ahead of myself, but it doesn't matter if you dress as like a fairy princess, or it doesn't matter what you dress up as. The Halloween itself, the spiritual things that happen, it's just a lot. And just by dressing up, you are opening a door. You want to dress up as your favorite character, do it on your birthday. It's not about dressing up or anything like that. It's about what happens during this time of the year, specifically during Halloween. In the spiritual world, we got to remember we are not of this world. I'm getting so ahead of myself. We're not of this world. We like the things, the battles are spiritual. They are not carnal. So I searched everywhere for an answer to this debate. I even listened to Christian podcasts and tried watching unbiased videos on it, and it was so confusing. There were some Christians who really were like, this is bad. And there were some Christians, like I said, that were like, no, this is okay because your heart's not in it. That is the biggest lie. At one point after a podcast episode, a Christian one, I was almost convinced that it was okay to celebrate it. Because you're not doing anything, you're just dressing up, as long as it's not scary things like zombies or witches, it's okay. You can dress as your favorite character or a Disney character, etc., etc. They brought all these things up. And I'm like, the truth is, God opened my eyes to it. God really opened my eyes to it. He has been convicting me about it because it wasn't about the dressing up. It was about the spiritual stuff that occurs on it. So I felt heavily convicted about the times that I did knowingly, knowing that that it was bad, that it wasn't, that God didn't like it. I didn't celebrate Halloween, and He even opened my eyes to sometimes to something that happened 4 years ago when I did the last time that I went out. I did something dumb 4 years ago. I went out for Halloween with this guy, and there was something that happened that just linked me to this person for a while, and it was hard to break, and God did not open my eyes to it until I started writing this today. I was writing this all of this down, and I realized that the reason I was so tied to this person was because of that night. And I was just like, God, please forgive me. I was like, God, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I should have I knew about Halloween. I didn't know that it was that deep. I Christians write it off as it's not that deep. It is that deep. So before we think about wanting to celebrate Halloween, here are some questions to ask ourselves, because these are questions that I asked myself when I was going through this. Why do I want to celebrate it? Why do I search for ways to be okay with celebrating it? Because that's the only reason why we search for things. But it's the only reason I was searching for the answers of whether or not a Christian should celebrate Halloween was because I wanted to celebrate it. I wanted to go out. I wanted to be able to dress up and not feel convicted about it. So the third one is, where does Halloween come from? What are its origins? And the fourth one is, what does God / the Bible say about Halloween? I did this all wrong. I numbered the questions right, and then the answers were backwards. So the first one was, why do I want to celebrate it? Where are you? Okay, cool. Why do I want to celebrate it? Because every time you go out, you allow the spirit that operates behind it to enter into your life. So every time you go out and celebrate Halloween, the spirit that operates behind Halloween tells you it's okay. So every time Halloween comes around, that spirit is calling. It's like, hey, Halloween's coming around the corner. Let's go out. Let's do this. Let's go out and celebrate. Because I came from not caring about Halloween at all, not bothering me, to wanting to celebrate it when I didn't even care about the holiday. So the spirit that operates, you allow the spirit that operates behind it to enter your life. And it gets harder and harder for you to let go of it, because I've been in a situation where I have told myself, why do I even want to go out on Halloween? It isn't even my favorite holiday. It's dangerous. People put stuff on candies. Your parents have to check your candies because people are crazy. And not just the drug facts of it. There are people that celebrate this as a for religious purposes. Okay, like pagans and Wiccans, which are witches, and Satanists. And those people put hexes on those candies. You don't know whose house you're going to that actually believe in these things, and they could put hexes on those candies. They think it's like, they call it blessing the candy, but it's not. You don't know what you're receiving. You don't know what you're allowing in. Again, and it's not about the physical things of Halloween. It is about the spiritual stuff that happens behind closed doors. So it's dangerous. People put stuff on candies. People think that it's okay to act out because they're wearing costumes. Like, I almost died the last time I went out. And I still felt that tug, that pull to want to celebrate it, even like want to celebrate it when I never had the urge to before. So once you open the door to it, that's why you got to be really careful and really like pray to God and be like, hey, God, I need you to answer. I'm feeling this type of way. I need an answer. And God will answer it, because he will make you feel that it's wrong. You might not know all the things about it, but he will make you feel it. Something in you will be like, no, this is not okay. I went out 4 years ago for Halloween, and I dressed up as everything. I went as a cat. That was like the go-to last minute thing, because it's not like I prepared to celebrate Halloween. Like, a friend would come and be like, hey, let's go out, and I'd be like, and it just happened to be Halloween, and I'd be like, I don't have a costume. Oh, I'll get you some cat ears. It was always a cat. So I went out, and I almost died. I went downtown. Granted, it was downtown. Stuff always happens downtown. Never went out again. I have fear of big crowds now for that reason. But I went out, and there was the guy that I was seeing at the time, and he wanted to go buy something across the street from where we were. So we went, and he's in line. I'm like a couple of feet away, maybe like 5 feet away from him, with my coworkers, the friend that invited me out and her husband. And long story short, everything got real quiet for me. It was like the Lord was just telling me to watch what was happening. And I looked around. The street was packed. There was no way you can walk without bumping into someone. It was like sardines in a can, literally. It was so packed. You've seen downtown. It's like the whole street just full of people. That place parecían hormigas en un hormiguero. It was so many people. And everything got quiet in my mind. Everything happened in slow motion, like in the movies. And I remember seeing the people starting to jump. I saw a man jump and try to like push people out of the way and start running. But it happened so slow. And I remember thinking, like, why is he running? I don't hear any screaming. I don't hear anything. And then as soon as I thought that, 3 shots right in front of me, like maybe 5 personas al frente mío, tiraron 3 tiros, y la gente se volvió loca. Eso fue un revolú. I'm looking at the guy that I was hanging out with, and there was people behind him that just, you hear gunshots, you run or you duck. And there's like a group of 10 people that se le tiraron encima, él cayó al piso, yo lo perdí. And then I turned behind me, I don't see my coworker or her husband. And there's people bumping into me. The street is starting to clear. I'm still searching. I don't see them. They're right behind me, but I don't see them. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, if they start shooting again, I am going to get shot because the road is clearer now. And so I ducked. And that's when I started to get bumped on, stepped on. And like, I got stepped on the head so hard that my makeup ended up on my glasses.
And that was literally?
Yes. Somebody stepped over my head, and my eye makeup ended on my glasses. And it was just really bad. My friend's husband found me and covered me and her with his body, and I could feel the bumps hitting him. And the friend that I was with managed to get out of the group of people and pulled me from underneath him, and we started running. And as soon as we turned a corner, there's a kid on the floor, and his friend is like yelling at him to take his shirt off, and the kid's not listening. I stopped, and I'm looking at this kid, because he was a kid, like maybe 16 years old. I found out later on he was like around that age. He was a teenager. And he was on the floor. There was a white shirt on, and I remember thinking, like, why is his friend telling him to take off his shirt? I don't see any blood on the shirt. When I looked down, he was shot on the leg. Mm-hmm. And so my friend just yelled at him and told him to wrap it up, like make a tourniquet out of the shirt, and then we just kept running. It was insane. That night was a fiasco. I hadn't paid my phone bill, so it was 1 a.m, and my phone went off, so I couldn't call anybody. I lost my friend and her coworker. It was I lost my friend and her coworker. It was intense. But the guy I was with took me to safety. Afterwards, we calmed down, and I found my friends. Everything was okay, but like, it was crazy. It was crazy, and never again. Never again. I learned my lesson, because I even questioned it before I went out. I was like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna go out anyways. Y el Señor me dijo, ahí te pasa por salir. Literal, eso te pasa por salir. Tú sabes que no tienes que estar haciendo eso, porque la gente se cree, no sé, es el espíritu que está detrás de eso. Sí. ¿Okay? La gente se cree que porque tienen mascarillas puestas o tienen disfraces puestos, ellos pueden hacer lo que quieran porque nadie lo va a notar, no les va a importar, y hacen lo que quieran. They just do whatever they want. And I remember telling my friend this, like, I don't celebrate Halloween for this reason, and I went anyways. Like, it is ridiculous. So remember, it's hard, because once you open the door, it's just, you let that thing in. Okay, even if it's a little bit of it, you let it in. Yeah, I know. This is no. I never told my parents that story. Never. They would have never let me out ever again. Yeah. Yeah, my brothers knew. But it's a little crazy. I told them because I didn't want them going out. Yeah. I told them because, like, my parents are tough in the sense that they're like, I need to know where you're at, who you're with, where you're going, right? And they're like, why do I need to do this all the time? And I'm like, this is why. Because if I would have been hurt that night, mis padres no sabían dónde yo estaba, y se iban a enterar por las noticias, and it was going to be a mess. I thank God, Dios mío. Cuando te digo que esos tiros fueron al frente mío, ¿ok?
Si no iba a hacer eso, iba a ser eso. Fue la vez que me botó las llaves de la guagua.
No, that was a different night. That was a different night
because I had to drive in the morning. I was like, she called me to go and get her.
No, aquel está hablando
2 in the morning.
Aprende
to drive me downtown.
Para no darle hasta que ellos sean adultos, no van a saber
nada. Yeah. So here we are. But yeah, that was one of the reasons. And then the second question is, why do I search for ways to be okay with celebrating it? Here we go. So because I think that deep down, we all know we should not celebrate Halloween because it does not please God, but we search for ways to Christianize it. To not feel bad, so we could not feel convicted, right? So the holiday, to Christianize the holiday so that we can feel better about ourselves and our fleshly desires to be a part of this world. But the Word of God says we are not part of this world in John 17:16. If anybody wants to read it. Juan 17:16.
Juan 17.
Juan 17:16.
No primera.
Nope. Juan Pelao.
Juan 17, 16, aquí está. Amén.
Ajá.
So, la palabra de Dios dice que nosotros no somos parte de este mundo. Mami.
No son del mundo, como tampoco yo soy del mundo.
That's it. It's really short, huh?
Juan,
El 16, ¿verdad?
17 a 16.
Busquen por ahí Romanos 12:2. Because the word also says we were not meant to conform to the things of this world.
12:2.
12:2. Romanos 12:2. Yeah.
No nos conforméis a este siglo, sino transformaos por medio de la renovación de vuestro entendimiento, para que comprobéis cuál sea la buena voluntad de Dios, agradable y perfecta.
Oh, I should have gone to. Right, we'll read that later. But the origins of Halloween are pagan. Just for the purposes of this. But the origins of Halloween are pagan. They're celebrated by witches, Satanists, and neo-pagans. So Romanos 12:2 dice que no te conformes a las cosas de este mundo, right? Y en Juan 17:16 dice que nosotros no somos de este mundo. Entonces, we shouldn't be, that means that, ¿cómo te digo? No nos conformemos a las cosas de este mundo. Significa que that means that it's pagan practices and godless laws and materialistic things like money and riches that's what it means. Don't celebrate the pagan practices. Antes de que, me estoy adelantando de nuevo, pero antes de que Dios entregara al pueblo de Israel la tierra prometida, Él les dio literalmente 2 libros de reglas, ¿okay? Deuteronomio y Levítico. Puras reglas de cosas que no deberían de hacer para ellos poder distinguirse de la gente que practicaban esas cosas, ¿ok? Él les dice, no te cortes el pelo de esta manera, no te afeites de esta manera, no te cortes, no te hagas marcas en el cuerpo, no adoren imágenes, no hagan esto, no hagan lo otro, porque es todo eso que Dios les dijo que esas cosas se practican durante estas festividades. ¿Okay? Los satanistas, las brujas y los paganos hacen esas prácticas. Ellos sacrifican cosas, ellos se cortan, ellos les rinden adoraciones a dioses idólatras durante esta temporada. Durante todo el año hacen esas cosas, pero durante esta temporada en específico, porque
es el día que ellos escogen.
Es el día que ellos escogen, específicamente de octubre 31 a noviembre 2. Sí. Eso es su celebración. Es más, yo tuve una persona que conocí que llegó, estábamos en un grupo en Discord que hablábamos y jugábamos todos juntos because I used to play a game. Really, like that. I used to be a nerd and play this game, and this person was a Wiccan. Y ella había dicho que alguien preguntó cómo estuvo Halloween, qué hicieron, que se toque eso lo otro, y ella salió con que no. Fui al cementerio, hice esto y esto y lo otro, porque es Samhain. Ellos le dicen Samhain, que Samhain es otra palabra para Halloween. Su celebración es lo que ellos dicen. Entonces, no, prendí una vela, hice esto, hice lo otro, porque para ella eso es sagrado. Es lo que ellos hacen.
Y los bosques de noche se meten ahí a hacer santería.
Yeah. Because they believe that the veil between, you can look it up, that between the spiritual world and the physical world is thinnest. Very, 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 very thin that night. And that is the reason they celebrate it. Para comunicarse con los muertos, hacer todas esas cosas. Y Dios tiene mucho que decir sobre comunicación con los muertos. ¿Okay? Es una abominación. Él dice que eso es una abominación. No tengan nada que ver con esas cosas porque son cosas paganas, son cosas malas. Y according to the Bible, the dead stay dead. Okay? The dead stay dead. There's no purgatory. There's no nothing. There's no communicating with the dead. Yep. What you're really communicating with are spirits. More specifically, familiar spirits. There are spirits that have followed your family for generations and generations and generations. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they know what your grandmama did, what your great-grandmother did, what your ancestor did, and they know what you are going to do. If you don't have God in your life, they will predict what you will do because they have seen it throughout generations of your life. Porque Satanás no es como Dios que puede estar en todos lugares en todo tiempo. Satanás asigna espíritu a tu familia, para vigilarte, porque la Biblia dice que él es el acusador. Él viene él sube y baja todos los días al cielo a quejarse de lo que estamos haciendo. Entonces, ¿y cómo él sabe todo lo que estamos haciendo si no puede estar con nosotros en todo tiempo, en todos los días? Él asigna espíritus que nos sigan. So, esos mediums, todos esos psíquicos, toda esa gente que se comunican con los muertos, no son muertos, son demonios que te han seguido toda la vida y saben de tus cosas. And it is, there's so much information. Okay, so okay. So before God gave So again, like I said, because I wrote all of this down, but before God gave the promised land to the Israelites, he gave them 613 rules of things they should not do because the people of that land had their own gods and they did things like cut themselves and offer their children in sacrifice to those gods and mark their skins in rituals for their gods. When I was in middle school, I did not believe in God. Everybody, yo no sé si ya lo he dicho, yo he dicho mi testimonio bastantes veces, pero when I was in middle school, I did not believe in God. I did not believe in anything. I wasn't into witchcraft either. I knew better than that. I didn't mess with dead things. That's just creepy. Why would I want to communicate with the dead? No, thank you. But I was in a group of people that did those things. I was in a group of people that went to cemeteries, messed with the Ouija board, lit up candles, and and celebrated Halloween for religious purposes, right? And I was involved with them in the sense that those were my friends. I hung around them. Y cuando yo me vine para acá, que me convertí al Señor y el Señor estaba bregando conmigo con todas esas ataduras, porque yo nunca me involucré con nada de eso, yo nunca me metí con nada de eso, pero por el simple hecho de estar con gente que lo hacía, yo hice un pacto con el diablo sin yo saberlo. Okay, and the Lord had to break that, because yo me cortaba porque I was depressed, okay, I didn't want to live. Y me cortaba, pero ellos también se cortaban. Pero ellos se cortaban por otros propósitos. Like I said, again, the people back in the day, God said, don't cut yourselves because they dedicate that to their gods. It was a form of doing that, of worship to their gods. And involuntariamente, al yo cortarme y ser parte de ese grupo, y cometí un pacto, me envolví en un pacto con el diablo. Y eso el Señor me lo reveló cuando estaba rompiendo todas esas cosas conmigo aquí. And it took such a long time because I suffered from demonic persecution for a really long time because of it. Because there was someone in that group of friends that I called my best friend. I gave them a picture before I left, and they took that picture and put it and made an altar of me, and they claimed my soul for the devil. Okay, this was deep stuff. And so it is, Dios tuvo que romper con muchas cosas. So, let's see. All right, so God gave literally 2 books, Leviticus and Deuteronomy. And we are supposed to be different, taking things that clearly are not of God and trying to make them of God just so that we can feel okay about participating in these things does not make it okay. Okay, so it does not please God and does not change what it is. A wolf disguised as a lamb is still a wolf, and sooner or later it will devour you. Okay, and the Bible says that the devil disguises himself as an angel of light. All right, and Halloween is quite literally the exact opposite of whatever it is that God stands for. Just everything. It's demonic. It has demonic roots. It has demonic inspiration behind it. It's not of God, no matter how you paint it. It's not. So, ya vamos por. Because I did this all backwards. We did why do I want to celebrate it? Why do I search for ways to be okay with it? Where does Halloween come from? What are its origins? What does God and the Bible say about Halloween? Did I? Oh, I didn't read this for you guys. Dang it. We're still in origins. Halloween is a pagan origin. It is a pagan holiday called Samhain, celebrated by neo-pagans, Wiccans, which are real-life witches, and Satanists alike. It is Celtic, and it goes as far back as like the Druids. Druids are yeah. Yeah. It is not native to America. It was brought over by the Irish in the 18th or 19th century. It was called All Saints' Day, right? They celebrated the people that went to heaven and prayed to the dead that were stuck in purgatory. Again, we went over that. That's no. It's not biblical. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you should pray to the dead or by that, like pray to anything that is not Jesus. The ones who pray or talk to the dead are mediums and witches, and I'll let you know right now, those are not your dead family members. Again, I said they're communicating with. These are their spirits, more specifically familiar spirits. You've heard of generational curses, right? So, well, familiar spirits are spirits assigned to you, your family. They're assigned to study and know everything about you. Because the devil's not like God. I read all of this. Okay. Yeah. I just had to, let's see. Where the family members has That's why they know who you are. They know what you like, your past, you went through. And if you don't allow God into your life to break those generational patterns, that's how they know, what you'll do in the future, like what your future is like. Porque es adivinación. Ellos no saben cómo va a salir tu futuro, pero por cosas del pasado, porque están las maldiciones generacionales, tu papá fue alcohólico, tu abuelo fue alcohólico, pues tú vas a ser un alcohólico, a menos que tú dejes que Dios entre a tu vida y te rompa esa esto, right? So in Leviticus 19:31, Levíticos, porque yo sé que tenía versos bíblicos para esto, that's why I was like, wait, let me go back. Levíticos 19:31, it tells us not to turn to mediums or necromancers, or we will be made unclean by them. Levíticos 19:31. Él empezó a buscar la hora.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. Is it the one?
19:31, yeah.
In English.
Mhm.
Do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to those who consult the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God.
Great. The dead stay dead, there is no purgatory. And that's in Ecclesiastes 9, 5 through 6, Eclesiastés 9, 5 al 6 y Hebreos 9, 27.
¿Eclesiastés qué?
Eclesiastés 9, 5 al 6.
¿Y Hebreos?
Hebreos 9, 27.
Ajá, Eclesiastés, si alguien puede leerlo.
Léelo.
I got it.
¿Tú cuál? Eclesiastes?
Yeah.
Okay.
9, 5 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
Come eat my food and drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways and you will live. Walk in the way of insight.
That's Ecclesiastes?
Oh, shoot.
That's not Ecclesiastes. Oh, did I make a mistake?
No. I had it. Oh, well, I'm tripping.
Mami, entonces léelo.
Just kidding.
Or,
Roxy got
wait, Roxy lo tiene.
The living at least know they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, nor are they remembered. Whatever they did in their lifetime, loving, hating, envying, is all long gone. They no longer play a part in anything here on earth.
That's it. The dead stay dead. And Hebrews 9:27. Hebreos 9:27. Beatriz?
Sí, acá.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't want to cancel
That's how you
that one.
find it.
Yeah. Y de la manera que está establecido para los hombres que mueran una sola vez y después de esto el juicio.
That's it. There's no purgatory. You're not waiting around in limbo for people to, I don't
To
know,
pray you
for people to pray for you when you're dead. That's not how you die, and then after that, judgment, which is judgment day. In other words, nothing. There's no purgatory. There's nothing. Okay. So that's just proof that whatever these people are communicating with, like los psíquicos y todo esto, no son tus familiares muertos, son espíritus.
Yes. Hay gente que tienen en sus casas altares de personas que ya han muerto, les prenden velas y eso es.
Yes.
The Day of the Dead.
Yes, exactly. There's no reason to do those things because it's not.
En vez de hacerlo
You're
antes.
not celebrating.
Antes
You're
de que
not.
se mueran,
You're not celebrating the dead.
no está salvando, ¿no?
And that's one, I don't know which one is which, but it's November 1st or November 2nd.
Second.
Because, because one is
Both
saints.
because All Saints Day and the
Yeah,
other one's All
one
Souls
is All
Day.
Saints and All Souls Day.
Here's where we're gonna go to.
One
The
is-
Catholic Church took these
Yes.
festivities and tried to Christianize them because they wanted more people to
Sí.
follow them.
Yes.
Okay, when
Yes.
the Catholic Church was rising, they wanted to convert people, and because they could not change the way these people thought and
Yes.
the things that they worshipped and the things that they did, they took inspiration from those demons they worshipped and those things they did, and they covered it and made it so that they can do it in their church.
Sí.
Okay, that's why they have images of whatever it is that they have. That's why they pray to the saints. There's no saints. Okay. And then it defeats the purpose of what Jesus came here to do. Okay, Jesus came here to be the mediator between us and God. That is what Jesus is. You pray to Jesus, you pray to God. Jesus is for that. You don't need to pray to Pablo or Pedro or anybody. You don't need to or angels. There's no such. You don't pray to angels. Angels do the work of the Lord.
Sí.
So it is Jesus and God. So the Catholic Church took these festivities and tried to Christianize them because they wanted more people to follow them. The more people, the more money, the more control, the more power.
Yes.
Right? So in order to get the pagans to leave their religions and traditions, they put a cover over it and tried to make it something that it wasn't. They took their gods and gave them saints. They could pray, but the devil disguises him. They took their gods and gave them saints they could pray to. Right? But the devil disguises himself as an angel of light. Eso está allá en la Biblia. That's it. Let's see. What does we already went, what does God say about the Bible? About
That's the one
Well,
you're missing.
Yeah, that's what I'm missing.
That's the one
That's
you're
what
missing.
that's the one we're missing. What does God say about
Yes.
what does God in the Bible say about this?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
one.
God in the Bible don't specifically tell you, hey, don't celebrate Halloween. Okay? The term Halloween didn't exist back then because it was a religion. It was a pagan religion, and Halloween, for the most part, operates in the spirit of fear. Halloween decorations everywhere. You want to paint it as pretty as you can, but most people take Halloween and they call it spooky season for a reason. Okay, it's all things horror, all things scary. Que si esqueletos, brujas, ogros, cosas de fantasía, espíritu, and so it operates in fear. Okay, there's spirit of fear. There are many spirits behind Halloween, but the spirit of fear is big. Yeah. Oh,
¿Qué?
I thought you were telling me to cut it. I was like, ya estamos tarde. No, never mind. Okay. Es que lo vi haciendo así. Pensé que me estaba diciendo como que ya estamos tarde. I was like,
No.
no. So it operates the spirit of fear is behind it, and the spirit of fear es fuerte. Es fuerte. El temor, el miedo coge a cualquiera. And I've seen videos of parents scaring their little kids with demonic things. Like, that's not funny. It's not funny. You're traumatizing your child. I saw things in my room
Que hay otra cosa también que cuando tú estás afuera llevando a esos niños, recogen todas esas cargas espirituales, luego llegan a tu casa, cuando van a dormir, no pueden dormir.
No.
Y después tú tienes que batallar con ese demonio que entró ahí para pelear y amanecerte para pelear orando por ese demonio.
Yes. Se me fue lo que estaba diciendo.
What does God say?
Okay, so
We talk about parents.
Fear.
parents, they scare their kids for fun. It's not fun. Putting letting them watch a jump scare of some demon is not funny.
No.
Scaring these kids, there's fear in their eyes. Like, you want to instill fear into your kids cuando el Señor te dice que no. El Señor te dice que eso no es un espíritu de Dios. You need to rebuke that. God has not given us a spirit of fear, and you want to let that operate in your kid's life when you do those things. You open the door.
That's crazy.
Yes.
It's terrifying. It's not okay to scare children because they don't know what's real and what's not real yet. Okay, they're still like they're growing up. They still have their innocence.
Sí.
Let's see. God does not operate in the spirit of fear. God talks about it. You know, he says, "For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of sound mind and love." Right? So Halloween glorifies scary things, like scary undead spiritual things like demons, zombies, murder, gore, and all things horror. Why on earth would you think that a holiday that glorifies these things is okay with God? It is not. God talks about loving your neighbor and living in a righteous life. 1 Peter 2:24. Primera de Pedro 2:24.
Primera de
Pedro 2:24.
2:24. Primera de Pedro.
God talks about loving your neighbor and living a righteous life. Daniel?
He himself bore our sins in his body on the cross so that we might die to sins and live for righteousness. By his wounds you have been healed.
So we might die to sin and live for righteousness. Okay, it's just clear as day. We're supposed to live in righteousness. Why would we celebrate things that glorify horror? Not to mention all these horror movies. ¿Tú sabes en dónde tiene que estar tu mente para pensar esas cosas? Les voy a poner en ejemplo. La palabra de Dios viene inspirada por el Espíritu Santo, right? Las palabras que habla el pastor aquí sobre la Biblia, él enseña, pero Dios le habla y es inspirado por el Espíritu de Dios. ¿Qué te hace pensar que Satanás no inspira artistas que hacen películas, que cantan, que hacen cosas? Ellos piensan que son ideas de ellos, pero hay cosas que el Señor me ha revelado que son demonically inspired. Okay? And that is why you should be careful what you listen to, what you watch, because you don't know what that person is doing behind closed doors. El muchacho que vino aquí a hablar de los jóvenes cuando hicimos el Youth Revival, que bregó con brujerías y salió de eso, él estaba en el mundo de los famosos y él habló de que, no sé si lo habló aquí, pero cuando nosotros estábamos en INVO, él nos había dicho también, no sé si fue cuando estábamos en INVO o lo habló aquí, pero lo traigo de nuevo. Él aplicó para una película de terror y el tipo que estaba direccionando la película de terror le dijo, tienes que acostarte conmigo y con mi esposa para entonces yo darte la parte. There are rituals that happens with these things, okay? It is
So, ¿qué más ejemplo del que hizo la película del Guasón? ¿Cómo terminó ese hombre? Con un demonio arriba. Los dos, porque los dos que hicieron la película del Guasón, los dos terminaron así. No fue uno solo, fueron dos. Dos artistas. ¿Y qué le pasó a Brandon Lee? ¿Qué le pasó a Brandon Lee? ¿Cómo murió con la película del Cuervo?
Él murió en esa película.
Muriendo en una bala.
The movie The Crow, había una escena en donde le disparan y alguien No
No,
se sabe
lo
qué,
que pasa es que
lo
antes se
cambiaron
usaban,
y era,
no,
una,
no.
era una bala de verdad.
Lo
y
que
murió
pasa es
de
que las
verdad.
balas que se usaban antes eran balas
Sí.
disparadas, eran de salva, pero eran
disparadas,
balas
pero es
que
no te
salían
dolían.
y daban. Y esas balas, y la bala
Que le
que
dio a él
le
fue real.
pusieron a él fue una bala real.
Y murió haciendo esa película. Y esa película se trata de un tipo que muere y
Porque
regresa de la muerte
usaban pistolas reales,
para vengarse.
pero con balas de embuste.
Ujú.
Y por eso, así yo leí, ya no usan pistolas reales.
No, for that reason.
Desde que pasó eso.
Ujú. And not just that, la muchacha que hizo la película del exorcista, la nena,
Eso estaba pensando yo.
terminó loca.
También.
Sí.
Terminó
Con
mal.
demonios, terminan con demonios.
Sí.
There
Creo
are
que
things,
murió. Creo que
yeah,
murió.
there are things that happen.
Murió.
Like you think,
Exorcista.
like
I was thinking
spiritual,
about that.
yeah, spiritual things are not a thing to mess
Yes.
with. Okay,
Come on.
especially when it comes to demons and these things. Okay, they are real. People think they're not, but these things happen. Entonces, so not to mention that the Church of Satan claimed it as their own holiday. Okay, you can. I'm not gonna tell you to go. But while I was doing research and all the videos that I saw of ex-Satanists and ex-witches and all that stuff, they all, el fundador de la Iglesia de Satanás quoted, like this is quoted. I searched it because they have a website. The Church of Satan has a website, and I went there to see these things for myself. They claim it as their own holiday. They say that next to one's own birthday, the most important one is Halloween. Okay? The people that do take this holiday serious are people against God. The pagans and Wiccans believe that the veil between the spiritual world and ours is very, very thin during this time, and this holiday is sacred to them and is used to perform rituals.
Mm-hmm.
It lasts the whole month of October and stops, empieza en noviembre, pero las preparaciones empiezan antes, las festividades empiezan mucho antes. Pero en realidad, los rituales y todas esas cosas, ellos aprovechan el 31 de octubre hasta el 2 de noviembre.
Sacrifican niños.
Yep.
Yes.
Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, and you can find this on the Church of Satan's website, said, he thanks Christians for allowing their kids to dress up and celebrate Satan's holiday. And actually, he doesn't say celebrate, he says worship.
Oh.
But worship the devil at least one night a year. It does not matter what you are dressing them up in. The mere action of it alone during this holiday gives permission for these spirits to operate.
Just to participate.
You want your kids to not miss out on dressing up and having fun. Do it on their birthdays. Do it on any other day than Halloween, because it is. I mean, have you seen the vamos a decirte, hay tiendas que vienen específicamente para esta temporada que se llaman The Spirit of Halloween.
Sí.
It is a
Now,
spirit.
Sí,
o sea, antes no salía tanta cosa de esa. Ahora está más o sea, son muchas cosas
Es más
expuestas.
fuerte.
Y más fuerte,
Sí.
y más fuerte.
Y antes no se veían tantas casas decoradas de eso, y
Antes
ahora
tú-
en todos lados.
Listen, el muchacho que
No,
que
y
vino
las
aquí,
ponen bien demoníacas las casas.
ay, por casa hay una casa que pone
En
tantas
casa hay uno
cosas,
que
pone
pone
tantas cosas.
la cama
Yo-
de la niña
de la
esa
exorcista,
del
la
exorcista
tiene en el techo.
con esa niña en el techo.
Ay, Dios mío.
Not
Ya,
just
en
that.
el techo, una cama, porque
Not
se llama
just
una
that.
cama de verdad.
He has a
Encima del
doll.
techo,
There's a doll
con
that he
la,
puts
con
up
la
that he does
muñeca
not take off
de la
throughout the
exorcista.
whole year.
On the tree?
Él tiene una muñeca guindando del árbol que la deja puesta todo el año.
Sí.
It has a face too.
Yeah,
And the tree has a face.
It has shells. Has
yeah.
a face.
Es demoníaco, son
Demoníaco.
cosas, you know,
Pasa
like,
por
no.
allí.
Yo paso por ella, yo paso por esa casa y reprendo todos los días.
Yo también.
He,
Yo veo-
decorates the doll for
Yo veo
Christmas.
esa cama.
too. It's like
Yeah.
insane.
Yo veo esa cama encima de la casa y yo digo, ay, esa
Él no decora más después de ahí. El único
Encima.
día, el único mes que él decora es Halloween.
Él
No,
decora
he
That's
una
it.
does
pared, he does
Christmas
Christmas
and
too.
Thanksgiving. It's
Ah,
just not
Thanksgiving.
as much as.
Pero él
Pero
se
donde
vota,
se
él se vota
vota,
para Halloween.
donde se vota es en
Él
Halloween.
se vota para Halloween. It's crazy.
Es donde único se vota.
Oh, I had a couple. Hold on, wait a second. There's something else I wanted to say. We are called to be the salt and light of the world, which is in Matthew 5:13-16. We are called to be the salt and light of the world, right? 2 Corinthians 6:14-18 says that light cannot mingle with darkness. God and the devil do not mix. Okay? That alone should be your answer. Christians should not celebrate Halloween by any means necessary. There's no such thing as redeeming the holiday for Christ. That is a lie. Okay? There is no such thing as redeeming a holiday for Christ. It operates in the darkness, and it's all about darkness and dark spirits, and there's a spirit that operates behind it, and it is evil. And that's it.
Él no falla, ese tipo no falla. Todo.
Ya, eso es todo lo que tengo. That's all for today.
Every year you get something new.
Oh, I have a web page of a